The moment the numbers went public, the music world paused. Bruno Mars had done something few artists in history have ever achieved, and the streaming era suddenly had a new benchmark. It wasn't just another chart milestone, it was a cultural statement. Bruno Mars has officially made Spotify history by becoming the first artist to have 5 songs surpass 3 billion streams each. In an industry where trends shift overnight and attention spans grow shorter by the year, this achievement stands as a rare testament to longevity, emotional connection, and timeless songwriting. The record places Mars in a category reserved for only the most enduring global superstars, reinforcing his position not just as a hitmaker, but as a defining voice of modern pop. Bruno Mars' journey to this moment did not begin with instant fame or viral success. Born Peter Gene Hernandez in Honolulu, Hawaii, he grew up immersed in music. His family performed together, and by the age of 4 he was already on stage impersonating Elvis Presley. That early exposure built more than confidence, it shaped his instincts as a performer and storyteller. Before his breakthrough as a solo artist, Mars worked quietly behind the scenes, writing and producing songs for other artists. Those early years taught him the craft of building hits, understanding melody, and connecting emotionally with listeners. His breakout came in 2010 with Just the Way You Are, a song that blended sincerity, pop accessibility, and emotional warmth. It topped charts worldwide and introduced Bruno Mars as an artist who could make intimacy sound universal. From that moment forward, his career followed a steady upward arc, not through controversy or gimmicks, but through consistent musical excellence. Albums like Doo-Wops and Hooligans, Unorthodox Jukebox, and 24K Magic showcased not only his vocal range, but his deep respect for classic soul, funk, R&B, and pop traditions. The latest milestone on Spotify reflects that consistency. Songs like Just the Way You Are, Locked Out of Heaven, That's What I Like, When I Was Your Man, and Die With a Smile have each crossed the 3 billion stream mark. These tracks span more than a decade, proving that Bruno Mars' music doesn't just trend, it endures. In a streaming ecosystem often driven by fleeting virality, this level of sustained listening is rare and deeply meaningful. Industry insiders say this record is not just about numbers, it's about trust. When listeners return to a song again and again over years, that's emotional investment, said a senior music executive who has worked with several major streaming platforms. Bruno Mars doesn't just release songs, he releases moments that people attach memories to. That's what creates longevity. Part of what sets Bruno Mars apart is his refusal to chase trends. Instead, he refines sound, elevates craftsmanship, and focuses on emotional authenticity. His music feels familiar without being dated and modern without being disposable. This balance allows his work to cross generations, from longtime R&B fans to younger listeners discovering classic sounds through a contemporary lens. Behind the scenes, Mars is known as a perfectionist. Producers who have worked with him describe studio sessions that last deep into the night, not out of pressure from labels, but from Mars' own standards. One longtime collaborator shared that Mars will often re-record vocals dozens of times until the emotional delivery feels honest enough to live forever. That commitment to quality has become part of his artistic identity. In recent years, Bruno Mars has also expanded his creative universe through collaborations. His work with Anderson .Paak as Silk Sonic marked a turning point, reintroducing soul and funk aesthetics to mainstream audiences in a way that felt both nostalgic and innovative. Their album An Evening with Silk Sonic became a cultural moment, praised for its musicianship, storytelling, and emotional depth. It wasn't just a commercial success, it was a statement about the value of artistry in an era dominated by algorithms. This latest Spotify record arrives at a time when the music industry is undergoing profound changes. Streaming has reshaped how artists build careers, how fans discover music, and how success is measured. Yet Bruno Mars' achievement stands out because it bridges two worlds: the traditional music industry rooted in album sales and radio play, and the modern digital ecosystem defined by streams and algorithms. Few artists have managed that transition with such consistency. Music critics have long pointed to Mars as one of the rare pop artists who prioritize craft over spectacle. Bruno Mars represents a kind of pop stardom that feels increasingly rare, said a veteran music journalist. He doesn't rely on controversy or constant reinvention. He relies on songwriting, performance, and emotional truth. That's why his songs don't age, they deepen. His influence extends beyond charts. Bruno Mars has helped reshape the sound of mainstream pop by reintroducing funk rhythms, live instrumentation, and vocal-driven arrangements into an industry increasingly shaped by digital production. Younger artists frequently cite him as an inspiration, not just for his voice or style, but for his work ethic and respect for musical history. Culturally, Mars has also played a key role in expanding the narrative of American pop stardom. As an artist of mixed heritage, he has navigated identity in a way that feels inclusive rather than performative. His music draws from diverse traditions without being confined to any single genre or label. This universality has helped him connect with audiences across cultures, languages, and generations. Despite his global fame, Bruno Mars remains notably private. He rarely shares personal struggles publicly, choosing instead to let his music speak. However, those close to him describe a deeply reflective individual, someone who channels emotion into songwriting rather than public confession. That emotional discipline has allowed his work to resonate broadly without becoming overly personal or alienating. One of the most overlooked aspects of Mars' career is his resilience. After early success, many artists face pressure to constantly outdo themselves. Mars responded not by releasing more frequently but by becoming more intentional. He takes years between projects, a risky strategy in the streaming era, yet each return feels like an event, not a comeback. That patience has preserved his relevance and protected his artistic integrity. Producers say Mars approaches each album as a complete story, not a collection of singles. He carefully curates tracklists, sonic themes, and emotional arcs. That attention to narrative has made his albums feel cohesive and immersive, contributing to long-term listener engagement. It's one reason his songs continue to accumulate streams long after their initial release. This record-breaking achievement also reflects a broader truth about the modern music landscape. Algorithms can amplify, but only authenticity sustains. Spotify's data may measure numbers, but listeners measure feeling. Bruno Mars' songs continue to live in weddings, breakups, road trips, and late-night reflections. They become part of people's lives, not just their playlists. As streaming platforms continue to evolve, the bar for success grows higher. Yet Bruno Mars has shown that enduring success doesn't require constant output or digital dominance. It requires emotional resonance, artistic integrity, and a willingness to prioritize quality over speed. His Spotify milestone is not just a record, it's a reminder that music at its core is about connection. Looking ahead, industry analysts expect Bruno Mars to remain a defining force in pop culture. While he has not announced his next solo project, insiders suggest that new music is always in development, even during periods of public silence. His collaborators describe a creative process that never truly stops, even when releases are years apart. More importantly, Mars' influence is already visible in the next generation of artists. Many young performers are returning to live instrumentation, classic songwriting structures, and emotionally grounded lyrics, trends Mars helped normalize in modern pop. His success has made it safe and even profitable to prioritize musicianship again. The long-term impact of this milestone may not be measured solely by future records, but by how it reshapes industry expectations. Bruno Mars has proven that longevity is not a byproduct of luck, but the result of deliberate artistic choices. He has shown that pop music can be both commercially dominant and creatively respected. As fans celebrate this historic achievement, the story of Bruno Mars continues to evolve, not as a narrative of overnight fame, but as a portrait of sustained excellence. His Spotify record is not the end of a chapter, but a reflection of a career built on trust, talent, and timeless sound. In an era where attention is fleeting and trends change by the hour, Bruno Mars stands as a reminder that some voices don't fade, they echo. And as the streaming numbers climb higher, one truth becomes increasingly clear. His music is not just being heard, it's being remembered.